You are welcome to our live stream. We are sorry for the delay. We had lapses in the internet connection, but thank God we have been fixed and we are ready to go. My name is Jonah Byalugaba. I am going to be taking you through the English language, and later in the day we are likely to have social studies so you can get prepared. Go on, invite more people to our live stream to enjoy these free lessons, courtesy of our friends who keep on sending us data. Invite them to come and also stream live to enjoy, because we don't know when this quarantine will end. Today we are going to talk about something very brief but very essential. Very essential for all classes, right from primary 5, primary 6, primary 7, and even in our daily life to better our English language, our speaking skills, and perhaps the writing skills. We are going to be talking about the relative clauses. Relative clauses. Now, before we sink into the relative clauses, I want to share with you the pronunciation, because I have heard people pronounce this as clauses. This is not right. This is supposed to be pronounced as clause, not clauses. AU sounds O, this is why this one is clauses. However, this is clause, which is in plural form. It does not have a singular form. So we have this as relative clauses, whereas this one is clause. So we are talking about relative clauses. Just to digress a bit for our benefit. So a child needs to know what a clause is before we find any information about the relative ones. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words which expresses a meaning, perhaps. These groups of words must express a complete meaning. So, that one is said to be a clause. It must be a group of words with sense. So if somebody wrote a sentence or a group of words that does not express meaning, then that one is not called a clause. Those are just words. For it to be a clause, it must express complete meaning. Now, we have about two types of clauses. We have what we call the dependent clauses and the independent clauses. We have the dependent, from the word depend, dependent, not dependent, but dependent, as you hear independent, dependent, so it must be dependent. Or if you don't want to call it dependent, you can call it subordinate. Subordinate. So all relative clauses are dependent clauses or subordinate clauses. I have heard people say in layman can say, these are my subordinates. So for one to be someone who's subordinate, one must be dependent to another one. Like all children are subordinates of either their parents or their guardians. So they cannot live on their own. So even these clothes that are dependent cannot live on their own. They depend on something else, as we are going to find out. So all relative clothes, number one, all relative clothes must be dependent, or they must be subordinate. Subordinate clauses. You must understand subordination, because it will help you understand very many other aspects, like the subordinate conjunctions, the subordinate, very many. So when you understand it right here, it will help you understand other things in that scope. I want us to consider, having understood what a clause is and now relative. Now, relative clauses are called relative clauses because they have a relative pronoun. They must have a relative pronoun for them to be called relative clauses. Now, let me challenge you. The girl, let's consider these two sentences. The girl in the green dress. The girl in the green dress. And then we have the girl who, okay, let me write it slightly down because we need to learn. The girl who has a green dress. A green dress. These two. One, you must be able to tell that this sentence, the girl in the green dress, right from here up here, is what we call a prepositional phrase. A prepositional phrase. This in is a preposition. It makes the rest of the sentence a prepositional clause. This prepositional phrase is going to work as an adjective because it is defining, or it is talking about, the girl. So we have the girl in the green dress. So this one is not a clause. Rather, it is a prepositional phrase. So go to our second sentence, the girl who has a green dress. We consider it right from here, the girl who has the green dress. Who has the green dress? This one, you must be able to tell that who is one of the relative pronouns. Who is one of the relative pronouns? There are 5. We are going to discuss them and how they work. Number 2, this clause has got a verb. So this one is a relative pronoun. It has got a verb, and it has got an object. Clauses, because it has what we call a relative pronoun, it is said to be a relative clause. But now, ask yourself, who has the green dress stand on its own? Definitely the answer is no. It cannot stand on its own, so it is said to be a dependent or a subordinate clause that is depending on the girl. This girl here, right here, is standing as what we call an antecedent. An antecedent in clauses is that either a noun or a talked about. Now this who, it bounces back to the girl. When they say, which girl? Who has the green dress? Someone will say, the girl. So this clause is leaning on the girl, which makes it a dependent or subordinate relative clause. Hope everything is clear. If you have a question, feel free to go down in our comment box and you drop your question. It will be answered. I want to emphasize further. Let's have this. Who has a green dress? The girl who has a green dress. The girl who has a green dress. We said is what we call a relative clause. We discussed two things. Why is it a clause? It is a clause because it has a pronoun, it has a verb, it has an object. Why is it relative? It is relative because it has a relative pronoun who. Who is being referred to here? The girl. This girl, the subject, the would-be subject, is also given another name called the antecedent. Antecedent. So what we refer to in a relative clause is what we call the antecedent. So let's first discuss the relative pronouns. We have relative pronouns. Then we shall come back and discuss more relative clauses. We have got a number of 5 relative pronouns. 5. 1, whom. 2, which. 3, who. 4, that. 5, who, that. And lastly, whose. I'm sorry, I've forgotten. Whose. They are 5. Whom, which, who, that, and whose. Now, these relative pronouns, once they appear before a clause, they make it a relative clause. They make it a relative clause. So we are going to find out more about, we are going to sink in and find how do we use these relative pronouns? How do we use each one of them? You appreciate one that whom and who are referred to people. Whom, who, and that. These 3. Now, even whose can be used to refer to human beings. However, the reason as why I'm keeping it aside is because it serves a different purpose. This is why I'm keeping it aside. Which, and that can also be used to refer to things, the non-human beings. Things, if you have your dog, if you have your cat, you can use which. Only when they are serving these, the prescriptions, the reasons, the descriptions I'm giving you are for when they are serving as relative pronouns. Now let's go one by one. Let's first talk about whom, and then we see whom. Now, whom is a very special relative pronoun. It makes your work formal. It makes your work more formal compared to when you use who. Let's take an example. The doctor Someone can say, there are two scenarios. One can say, whom I talked to, the doctor whom I talked to. Now, the doctor whom I talked to. This whom is working as a relative pronoun, and it is making this a relative clause. However, this is correct, but for you to have more formal work, you ought to say, this is correct. I don't say this is wrong, but for you to make your sentence and your English more formal, you ought to say, the doctor to whom I talked. The doctor to whom I talked. This and this literally mean the same. These two literally mean the same. However, the latter one makes the sentence more formal. So when you're writing, you choose to use the prepositions before pronoun whom. It makes your English more formal. Even when you're writing an application, you're writing formal writing, choose to use these prepositions before the relative pronoun whom. The butcher, you can say the butcher from whom I bought. There are about 5-6 prepositions that can come before the pronoun whom. So you choose to have them. Even when you're speaking, it makes more sense. Instead of saying from, you would rather say the butcher from whom I bought beef. It is more formal. Now, whom and who can be directly interchanged. They can be interchangeably used in sentences. So where you have used whom, you can use who. However, for who, it is not in the real life where it is not advisable for you to use who, and then you use a preposition before it. You can say, to who I talked. If you want to use it before, if you want to use a preposition before, then you ought to use whom. Now we have a special thing about that. For it can be used to refer to things and even people. Like here, someone can say the doctor that I talked to. That one is also allowed. Then we have which is strictly for things. It is used when the antecedent, remember the antecedent we talked about here, the thing or the person you refer to in the relative clause, if that thing is a non-human being, then you can use which. Which is only used with non-human being antecedents. Remember, an antecedent is that thing or somebody that referred to in a relative clause. So we go to whose very special relative pronoun. Whose very special relative pronoun. I believe you have written. If you are to take notes, keep the conversation going. Keep the conversation going in the comment box. If you have anything you've not understood very well, we are available to help you. If you type the question right there, we shall be willing to help you out. Now we are discussing whose. This whose is the only relative pronoun that is used to show possession. It is used to show possession or ownership. If you want to show that a certain antecedent owns or possesses something, then you have got only one choice. that is whose. If you want to show that a certain antecedent, remember we said an antecedent is that thing or person being referred to in a relative clause. If an antecedent possesses or owns something, then you ought to use whose. For example, the mother, this one is our antecedent, don't forget, antecedent. So this one is the antecedent. If you want to show that this mother owns, means that this baby belongs to this antecedent, the mother. You should not forget. It is also true, it can be used even with non-human antecedents, like the puppy, whose hind leg. So this hind leg belongs to this puppy. So to show that this hind leg belongs to this puppy, in a relative clause, you use relative pronoun whose. Now, remember, we were not discussing relative pronouns, we started with relative clauses. So, we are going to sink in. If you want to take notes, you are free to take notes. This is a lesson that would rather take more time. It will take about 3-4 lessons to discuss and to explain and give exercises on each and every pronoun. But because we don't have time, we try to be as brief as possible. But we have a lot of information, we have a lot of exercises related to this lesson. So you can hit our inbox to send you some of these exercises and you try out at home. And we are even willing to give you feedback if you try out and send to us. We are willing to give you feedback. Okay, we go back to now that you have understood all the 5 relative pronouns, now it will be very easy for you to understand relative clauses. Because we said the relative clause is called so because it has got a relative pronoun. Now, feel free to try out and point for us the doctor who traveled London. If I was in my class, I would ask my children to, 1, identify the relative pronoun, number 2, bracket the relative clause. Like this. This who is the relative pronoun. I'll use RP to represent relative pronoun. Then right from here, up here is the relative clause. Is the relative clause. We have a question, I have to read it and I get back to you. Thank you very much, Brother Sharifa. May you be specific, explain which. Oh, I understand. Sharifa, you are asking us to explain which as a pronoun. I am going to get back to you, so stay tuned. I'm going to get back to you. Okay. Yes, I was sharing with you that 1, if challenge the child to find out, if you're a child out there watching me, 1, identify the relative clause, rather the relative pronoun, then after, bracket the relative clause. Another sentence. The boy the boy whose neighbor beat severely. I challenge you to identify the relative pronoun first, and then number two, bracket the relative clause. As I explained to Sharifa, the which as a pronoun. Okay, I will request my cameraman to take us to the third board that is free, has free space. Okay, thank you. Now, which, just like the four other pronouns that I explained earlier, the whom, who, that, and whose, which is used with antecedents that are non-human. Which is used with antecedents that are non-human. When we are dealing with the cows, we are dealing with the plants, we are dealing with the desks, think about anything that is not a human being, then the relative pronoun used to describe that antecedent is which. Let's take an example. The chalkboard. The chalkboard. Now, because this antecedent is non-human, the relative pronoun we are going to use is which. We're going to say the chalkboard which the teacher used. Is black, is what. But now this which refers to the chalkboard, which makes which is a non-human being. So when the antecedent is non-human, the relative pronoun used is which. Hope you have understood. Very well. One more. Okay, I will give you another example. The tree which fell on the way was mahogany, whatsoever, whichever thing you want. Now, remember the antecedent, this is called the antecedent. The antecedent is non-human, so we use which. If the antecedent was human, we would have three options. We would have who, we would have whom, we would have that. This which can also be used interchangeably with that. So we can say the chalkboard that the teacher used. The tree that fell. So it can be used with that. We go back to our relative clauses. I believe you have now exercised, you have tried to write some more relative pronouns. You have identified the relative pronoun, which is whose, and you have bracketed right from the relative pronoun to severely, and you have termed this as the relative clause. It is very, very important for a candidate to be able to identify a relative clause in a sentence. And the relative clause begins from the relative pronoun. We are welcoming questions. Write in the comment box. I will peruse through. Fine. More questions, if they are there, we are going to be answering them. The other thing that I plan to share with you today would be the two different types of relative clauses that include what we call the restrictive relative clause the non-restrictive relative clause. Some people choose to call this one defining and this one non-defining. Non. This one defining, this one non-defining. So, you can call it restrictive or defining, or you can call it non-defining or non-restrictive relative clause. But if this will be too much for the day, we cannot go deep into this right now because it is also vast. So this is why we want to bring our live broadcast to an end for today. For now, we want to bring our live broadcast to an end for today. We shall continue engaging you on a daily basis to allow you to give you a chance because we have the knowledge and you have the children. Let's support each other. This is our kind of sacrifice for you. We sacrifice our time to come and do this broadcast for the benefit of the children who cannot go to school right now due to the pandemic. However, I want to conclude the broadcast by calling upon all Ugandans to stay at home, wash your hands. If you have the symptoms of COVID-19, stay at home, seek medical help. Do not sneeze in the public, do not cough in the public, not spit in the public. Above all, pray to God because He has got all the powers to restore the condition to normalcy. Lastly, if you have benefited from this broadcast, feel free to inbox us to support us in terms of data, in terms of any kind of support that you can give us to have this broadcast done on a daily basis. We thank you very much. May the good Lord bless you and keep you.